on deck and I'm watching the flags go up, down, up, down. I was under like, which flag is this ship flying under? I don't know. So eventually I get thrown overboard, pretty much. So I got walked off the plank and I ended up on this thin little piece of wood, like a piece of plywood, but it was made out of cedar. And it was cupped a little bit like a reclining sun chair. And it had a hole in it, though, a little hole. And if you try to stand up, you would sink. But if you laid completely still, the feeling of the sunshine and the water and it was made out of cedar, this piece of wood. It just smelled like a sauna. It was incredible. Hello, Power Tribe. I'm Murray Dewick.
And I'm Tricia Warren.
And you're listening to Samuel's Mantle Podcast. If you're spiritually sensitive, have dreams or visions, we're here to help you discover you're not crazy. You're probably actually hearing from God.
And when you're hanging out with us, we will help you connect with Jesus, feel his heart, hear his voice, and make sense of the ways you've been hearing from him.
Through practical tools, heartfelt teaching, you will discover that connecting to God is actually your superpower. He has gifted you with the power of the Holy Spirit to connect.
So let's jump in and grow in experiencing him like never before. Welcome back to episode 4, You, Me, or the World?
How to tell what your dream is really about. And wouldn't that be good, everybody, to have that power?
Absolutely.
And with that, we shall invite the dream interpreter, the Holy Spirit, who bubbles up inside of us with this nice bubbly. This is our symbol of God opening things up because we are spirit-filled and the Spirit of God flows. So thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Father. Let's jump in. 3 rules of 3 for one each of the Trinity. There you go.
All right. So those of you who might or might not have tuned in our last 2 episodes, but we're working on the 3 rules of 3 when it comes to dreams. And so our last 2 episodes were about the first 2 rules. So the first rule was about what the symbols are in your dreams. They could be cultural, biblical, or personal. That episode was called, What Kind of Dream Was That? Understanding the Language of Your Dreams.
So a quick review, cultural. So if I said to you, you're stuck in the mud, can't get out of second gear, it's life in the fast lane, we'd all know that we're comparing our life to a vehicle because we all would use those same cultural expressions, right? And they might not make sense to somebody in a culture that doesn't have cars, of course, right? Because they're in our culture.
Yeah. All right. And then the rule number 2, true,
because it's biblical. It has to be true.
So rule number 2 is a dream can refer to your past, present, or future. I can't seem to talk today. Not peasant, present. Yes.
Not peasant.
So you can usually find, you can discover your dream. I mean, we talked a lot about this in episode 3, which was called Back to the Future. Is this dream about my past, present, or future? So it's about bridging a dream to your present life, right? And there's usually a promise in the dream. Do you want to give a little more quick explanation of that?
Yeah, because you always go back to see the previous episode. But the one that people don't realize is that if we have unresolved trauma or issues, that often God will give us a dream about something that's occurred previously, so we can get healing and we can have resolution. And once you get resolution, God can reform you and renew you. But sometimes that means we have to look at some things that maybe we've just put in a tight little ball and locked in a vault. And so one of the questions you just want to learn to ask yourself is, the feelings I had in this dream, have I felt them somewhere before? Pretty easy, but you can go back to that episode and look for more.
All right. And today we're going to do the third of the 3 rules of 3. And Murray, you're going to explain rule number 3.
All right. So the next grouping of 3, a dream can be personal. So it's all about you or me. In this case, I get lots of those where you're with a group of people, or it can be just what you're seeing. It's not about you at all. And I'll give you a little bit. How do you tell? Well, personal dreams, you are the main character. So if you're the main character in your dream is mainly about you. If you're running away, are you running from something in life? If you're confronting something, are you confronting something in life, right? And usually you look at the emotions around that and go, do I feel this anywhere right now? And usually dreams are like cartoon characters. They amplify. Like if you've ever seen political cartoons where they draw a politician with a bigger chin or bigger
Yeah.
eyebrows or something. Dreams are like they turn up the volume. So the emotions might be stronger in the dream, but you begin to ask that question: where in life am I running away? Where am I running away from something? Am I, so you can bridge a personal dream. Takes practice, because when the Lord uses a dream, it's a glory of God to hide a matter, a glory of a king to search it out. If it was that obvious, we would get it right away. But usually God's talking about things we don't see very clearly, right?
Hmm.
But number two, can be if you're in a dream with a group of people, say there's 20 people, you ask the question, where am I in my life? Am I with 20 people? Could be your home group, could be something in church. If you're with like on a train, like there's a couple thousand people, maybe it's about your denomination, right? But that's a bridging question. Where in my life am I with a group of people doing this thing, right? And prophetic dreams, they are either about somebody else or they haven't happened yet. So you can't bridge them, right? You're trying to bridge it and you can't connect it. A bridge is something that connects one side to the other. So, and with a prophetic dream, you can't bridge it. And that's sometimes how you know.
Ah.
Want to hold that a bit loose because often, I don't know what this dream means, must be prophetic. That would be a leap, right? Because often you don't know what it means because you're not ready for God to tell you because you don't want to know because you might have to deal with something if it's personal. So,
Yeah, so
you
you
don't
don't
want
want
to
to jump there too fast. Yeah.
you don't want to use that as a cop out, but often it's true, right? And we'll talk more about prophetic dreams. I think next episode we'll go because there's dream types. There's counseling dreams and prophetic dreams and warning dreams and flushing dreams, and we'll do that. But right now, third rule of three: a dream can be about you if you're the main character, can be about you and a group of people if you're with a group of people, can be about somebody else. You're just observing. You're not really in the dream at all. You're just like almost like you could say watching television. You're just watching. Where in your life are you just watching something? There's a
Mm.
good way to say that.
Cool. So we're going to give examples of all of these different types. And I believe, Murray, we're going to start with the first one, which is a dream that you know it's about you.
Okay.
So
Now, do you
you
want
have
me
a
to
really
just,
good one.
yeah, I like this dream. And so we've worked on this a little bit before, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to just share the dream and I'm going to let Trish ask me questions around it because a personal dream you can bridge to life. So we're going to let Trish ask bridging questions. And
Perfect. I
yeah,
love
it sounds like
asking those
fun.
questions. Yes. All
Okay.
right.
And it really does help to do your dreams with somebody else, everybody. Just so you know, it's quite odd that we often can see things in other people's dreams we can't see in our own dreams.
Hmm.
So believe it or not, sometimes just to sit down with someone and tell me, what do you think? You'll be shocked at what they see compared to you. And I'm sure you will experience this right now as I share this dream. And Trish works on it. Okay, so in the dream, I'll just tear the dream and yeah, I'll just do it that way.
Okay.
So in the dream, I am in a construction zone. And there's lots of diggers and backhoes and all kinds of equipment. The road is completely dug up. The pavement's been removed. There's gravel everywhere. And I don't even have a car. I'm walking as if I'm driving. So I'm standing in front of this guy with a sign that says, stop. And there's all these cars lined up behind me and we're waiting to go. And I'm like, I don't even have a vehicle, And
So wait a minute. So you're standing, a guy with a stop sign, just for clarifying, and
yeah,
and everyone else is in a vehicle, but you're not, but you're just standing there waiting to go. Okay, very
yeah,
interesting.
it's
Okay.
very, yes. Yeah, I'll wait till you ask me questions, explain that. So he says, he turns the sign around, go, okay, waves traffic forward. And I'm like, suddenly this ring comes off my hand I used to own. I wish I could find it. It had a big amber stone in it. I love that ring. And it came off my hand and it became like a giant wheel. And I stood on it like a skateboard and I rolled all the way through this construction zone. It was kind of all downhill. It was so easy once I got going. And in the end, it had this brand new shiny edge to it. It was just sharp. And then it shrank back down to my finger again. So there you go.
Wow,
But
that's so symbolic.
yeah, and as you can tell, that dream was about me. I was stopped. I had to get on the ring. See what I mean? I'm the main character. So that's a personal dream.
So when you had that dream, Was there something going on in your life where everything had was under construction, so to speak, like everything was torn apart?
Oh
You
yeah.
couldn't even get through, you couldn't even walk anywhere, you had to wait. Was there something going on in your life at that time?
Ye- That is a brilliant question because there was. It was when we were first doing our first dream seminar. We did a series. We usually do classes, but we did these 3 seminars. And I thought taking my notes and rebuilding them and putting them into a seminar format instead of class format would be easy, like overnight. It wasn't. Because in class, the spirit can move. You got a year, right? In a seminar, you have a set amount of hours. And I had to
A
figure out
weekend, yes.
yeah, what to cut out, what to keep, and it was so much work. I had to completely rebuild it. And
Oh.
I wasn't ready. I was not ready. The seminar was starting the next day and I did not have it together at all.
So then what happened? Like, okay, so then does the ring with the beautiful amber, if
Yeah.
what does amber mean to you, like as a symbol?
Oh, see, that's a good question because that ring, I owned it because I had a dream, very prophetic dream. Maybe I'll share it next week. But the color amber was everywhere. It was amazing.
Wow.
And I bought that ring. So when I looked at that stone, I knew God would speak to me about his glory in dreams. So that ring represented working with dreams.
Oh my goodness. And so it got huge enough that you could just surf on, like it became its own vehicle. Like I was
Yeah.
trying to understand, did it get wheels or did you
It
fly with
became
it?
kind of like a big wheel. And I kind of rode it. Like in real life, you couldn't do that because they would, if you're standing on a tire and it starts rolling, it would it would roll off on you, right? But in the dream, I could stand right on it and it rolled just like a tire. And I was just like zipped all the way down the hill.
Wow. And so how did that all unfold? When you
Well, it
had,
was
because you had that dream while you were struggling, right?
yeah. And yeah, good question. How did it end? Because that seminar was fantastic. It went once it got started, it was so easy and just rolled right through it. And that last little scene, it really is kind of like that. Like that ring had a brand new cutting edge to it. And I learned some things how to take class material and put it into seminar form that I didn't know. I had a new cutting edge. It was really true. It worked out just like that.
And for everyone listening, I was there, and it was a really good dream seminar. And you
It
ended up
was.
getting a part two and part three, so it's a three-part series, and it's called the I Dream series, and you can get them on our website. And
Yes.
that was fantastic as an MP3, I believe. Yes, so you can download it and listen to it in your car. But that was a fantastic dream seminar, and it comes with a huge workbook. The workbook itself is like a book.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that is what I was rebuilding. Right there was
Yes.
that workbook. Man, that
Yes.
took a lot of work.
That
I
was
still
that.
remember it. It's like, what have I done?
So the dream was about you, but it had such a beautiful promise at the end, right? In the
And
dream.
and we've said that before, everybody. Usually the last part of the dream, a personal dream kind of goes like that. The first part of dream is like, this is what's going on in your life. The last little bit is often, here's what I'm going to do for you. And you can kind of see that last little scene's quite prophetic, right? It did work out like that. So that's pretty common with dreams. That last scene, if you can find a promise or a gift or a blessing or a teaching in the dream, that's the prophetic aspect, right? But to learn to bridge it, personal dreams, you can connect it, you can bridge it to life, just like that.
Oh, that's so cool, Murray. So what a great
I like that dream.
example of a dream of you, about all about you, with a great promise at the end.
I get so many of them. I think maybe I'm a bit myopic because I get lots of personal dreams.
Yeah, all right. So let's move on to the next type, right? This is the next example we're going to give is an example of a dream when you have a dream about a group of people, but you're in the group too. So it's not
Yes.
just about you, it's actually about the group as well.
Yeah, and why don't you share yours first? We'll both share one, but
Sure, I
um
have a super short one, and this is actually quite an old dream. I had this dream. Oh my goodness, it was before I had kids, right? I think Bruce and I were just newlyweds, so we're talking 35 years ago. And so we went to this church, this beautiful church it was called the Toronto Blessing, if anyone has ever heard of it. But there was only about 50 of us in the church at the time. And I was working on a big production. I love to do theatrical productions. I was working on the music and stuff like that. But then there was a couple of people in the church that were not really happy with me because they thought they should be doing
mm,
theater. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, sure. I just did it because because I have a bit of a gift of a gatherer, so I just gathered some people and wrote it and did it. Where the other person was kind of more always talked about it but never did it, but I didn't even know, right? So anyway, so I have this dream and I'm hanging out with everyone in the church and there's a bunch of us in the water swimming. It's a beautiful
Oh,
day and there's a wharf there and I'm swimming and all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of people on the wharf watching us swim and they get out these arrows and they start to shoot arrows at us in the water.
wow.
That was my dream. And then I remember being very confused. Well, why would anybody in my church shoot arrows at me?
Mm.
You know, and then I woke up. And if you want to ask questions about that dream, it kind of happened. That whole thing kind of
Yeah.
happened.
So where, often everybody, if you have a dream where somebody's shooting, like it had a knife stabbed in the back, or when people are talking smack about you. So did you have a time of that period where you were doing the play, you were doing this stuff, and people behind the scenes were gossiping or talking smack about you a little bit? Is that what happened?
That's exactly what happened. But when I
Yeah.
had the dream, I had no idea. But then after I had the dream, it all kind of unfolded. I'm like, oh, so there were kind of people that were mad at me, so that's what happened.
So
Interestingly, yeah, I even when I went to church that next week, I felt an arrow get shot in my back. And that's when I went, wait a sec, that feels an awful lot like my
like my
dream.
dream, that's right.
And
That's
then yes.
bridging it in the moment.
Yeah, so that
So
was very interesting. It all worked out in the end. But sometimes people's feathers get ruffled, so to speak.
yeah.
And the play was very successful. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's good. And everybody, if you're like some of you are like, I had a dream like that. That's what that means. You know, the best thing to do is I will share dream types. That'll come up again. But the best thing you want to bless the people,
Hmm.
strike down any words that were,
Yeah,
do not call your brother a fool or you're a danger of the fires of hell. That's what Jesus says, word for word, right? Don't say rock a fool to your brother. I
yeah.
see. Strike down the words, bind the enemy, cancel his assignment, right? Love the people, but it doesn't mean you need to put up with it. This feeling of oppression, but that's what you would do.
All right, now you have a great dream. Yours is a little bit longer,
Yeah, it's
but it's a great one.
do you want me to share the whole thing or just the group part?
Whatever I think we
Well,
have
okay,
time. Share the
okay.
whole thing. Quite an
The
amazing
ending is
dream.
pretty neat.
Yeah.
So at this time, going through a church split, and I'll just give a little background here. Why not? And not sure who is right or wrong, who's right, who's wrong, who should I side with, trying to figure that whole out. Because especially when you're an independent ministry and you're ministering out of a church and pastors start going at each other, you're like, okay, they're both my friends, right?
That sounds really tough.
Yeah. And you start to hear what each other's point of view is from other people. You're like, well, both of them have little bits of truth. So here's kind of what happened. In the dream, I am on a ship, an old sailing ship, and I'm this group of people, these people from this church. And the weird thing is this ship, suddenly it has a pirate flag, and then the flag would come down, and another flag, a buccaneer flag. So the little bit of background, you have to do a little research. A difference between a pirate and a buccaneer is a pirate is attacking, let's say, the Spaniards to steal gold for themselves, if you think Pirates of the Caribbean. A buccaneer is attacking the Spaniards to steal gold for the King of England, right? So you're doing the same thing, but one you're under the king and one not, you're just doing it yourself. And I couldn't tell. There were two teams. Who was the Pirates? Who were the Buccaneers? I couldn't tell.
Oh,
So the dream.
interesting.
So I'm on deck and I'm watching the flags go up, down, up, down. And they're like, which flag is this ship flying under? I don't know. So eventually I get thrown overboard, pretty much. So I got walked off the plank, and I ended up on this thin little piece of wood, like a piece of plywood, but it was made out of cedar, and it was cupped a little bit like a reclining sun chair, and it had a hole in it though, a little hole. And if you try to stand up, you would sink. But if you laid completely still, the feeling of the sunshine and the water and it was made out of cedar, this piece of wood. It just smelled like a sauna. It was incredible. You just could not move. You just had to stay completely at rest.
Wow.
And so I did that for quite a while in the dream. like freaking out for a while. I'm going to drown. And I realized, oh, okay, I just got to be at rest. So you can imagine that took a while to figure that out. But once I did, it was pretty cool. And then I washed ashore finally on this little Caribbean island. And this is the only like awake dream I've ever had where I was in a dream and I knew I was in a dream. I washed up on this island and there was like an old Spanish mission there. It was abandoned, ragged curtains in the windows, doors missing, but it was gorgeous, but run down. And I was walking up the water and suddenly I was like in a real place. It went three-dimensional. The color of the water, that Caribbean blue. I could
Wow.
feel the sand under my feet, the sound of the water lapping, the white sand, the blue sky. I could look around, three-dimensional. And I could feel my hands just in the water. Oh, it was amazing. Yeah.
Wow. That's
That
so
was
vivid.
incredible.
Wow, what a dream. So that dream, just to talk about the whole dream as a whole, it was about a group of people, obviously,
Yeah, it started that way.
because it started off and you didn't know who was the pirate and who was the buccaneer. So basically you didn't really know who was right and who was wrong.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can't say because I guess in our world we'd think the pirates are wrong and the buccaneers are right,
Well, I
possibly.
didn't even know which group of people were under which
But you didn't
flag. They
know
were
who,
all
yeah,
on the same
exactly.
deck. Like they're all on the same boat. Like whose flag is
Yeah, you
who?
couldn't figure it out. But every time
Yeah.
you looked, it was a different. Oh, so it's like if someone would tell you something, and then maybe that flag was up there, and then someone would tell you
Yeah.
something on the other flag is
It
up. So that's
was
so symbolic of a group of people. But it's interesting. Then they threw you out,
Yeah.
or you left,
Well,
or you had
I
to walk the
left.
plank.
I had to walk the plank. So it was really like if you that's a good bridging question. Where are you with a group of people you can't figure out whose side you should be on? Oh, there it is. Like, yeah.
Exactly. And did you have to walk the plank? Did you have to leave the organization?
No one forced me to go. I mean, the dream makes it sound more like that, but I had to go. I just felt
Well, you
like,
probably were kind of forced in some way because you
oh yeah,
couldn't be there anymore.
that's right. Yeah. All
And
the
then the
conflict.
whole thing when you're on the plank and if you moved, you would sink.
Well, that's kind of what happened. I really had to go through this season of rest. Just be at rest. Who dwells in the secret place shall rest under the shadow of the Almighty, right? Like, come to me, learn of me, take up my yoke. I will give you rest. And really, I had to learn that, like, not freak out, not panic, just trust the Lord, be still, right? Be still and know that I'm
I
God. And
mean, wow, that's so
yeah, it
symbolic.
worked out just like that. I mean,
In
that
your
was quite prophetic.
Yeah, like in your dream, how long did it take you to figure out that you had to lay still?
Oh, I remember flopping around on that thing and trying to stand up and it started to sink and trying to paddle and freaking out and then trying to kneel on it because, you can't see where you're going laying down, right? So
Right.
I'd stand up, where am I going? And if I did, I'd sink. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna
So
die.
is
And
that what was happening in real life as well?
yeah,
Is that how
oh
you
yeah.
felt?
Well, like Samuel's Mantle, where are we gonna go? We don't have another building. Where are we gonna meet? Like, where are
Oh,
we gonna
this
get
is the church where
students?
we
And
started off in many years ago.
yeah,
Okay.
so there was
All
all
right.
of
So you didn't
that
know where
and
you were going to end up.
at all. That's right.
Oh my goodness. I remember I was there. I remember all
Yeah.
that. Yes. Wow. Okay. So what a beautiful promise at the end. So let's talk a little bit about the promise in the
And
dream.
that's kind of, again, everybody, you can see that right at the end of the dream, there is a promise or a gift or a teaching, right? And this is a pretty big one. Like that dream went three-dimensional. It went like prophetic dream full on. And prophetic dreams we'll talk about next week, but usually the colors are brighter, the symbolism is more literal. You don't forget them for the rest of your life. Like they're burned into you. And that last scene of that dream is so like that for me. Like it was
It's like
powerful.
forever. So what do you think that meant? So you went from resting on a beautiful plank that smelled so wonderful
Well,
to something.
not that I have any connection to any kind of Spanish monasteries at all. I don't. However, what does that mean to me? I figured out. It took me a couple years to figure that out. A bunch of years, 5 years maybe. I bet from that point in time, something like that. It represented rest and stillness and contemplative prayer and learning
Wow.
and learning that as an aspect of spiritual health, which I didn't have at all. It's like it was something in my life completely abandoned, or I didn't even know existed. And but
Oh,
yeah, it took
hence it was abandoned when you got there.
yeah. So
Oh,
yeah, and it was
wow.
about and such a beautiful thing, it was, but I had no understanding. I didn't even know what the word contemplative mean. That's another dream that later on I was like, what? What does that word mean? I've never even heard it in my church culture. So yeah, but it did turn out, learning how to be still and pray and sit with Jesus and spiritual disciplines and the beauty of it. Yeah, it worked out just like that.
Wow,
But it took,
what an amazing
I
prophetic
couldn't
dream.
abridge that part of that
Yeah.
dream if I would have wanted to. Like I had no understanding about the symbolism or why or yeah. So prophetic stuff you can't bridge. It hasn't happened yet, but in time, you get the clues you need. So there you
So
go.
so that dream almost has all three aspects. It was about you, it was about a group of people,
Yeah,
and the promise at the end was prophetic.
I had not thought about that. You are
So
right.
what a
It
great
is.
dream.
Wow, never thought about that. Yeah, isn't that cool?
That's so cool. All right. Well, now
What a
let's
shock.
just move right into the prophetic dreams now, too, when the dream is not necessarily, it could be about you and the future, a prophetic dream for you or a prophetic dream for another group of people, right?
Okay. So
So,
yeah, if you're talking to, I'll give mine first. Why not? So if you're
sure.
talking about prophetic dream about other people, so if we look at the basically what we're talking about today, a dream can be about you, can be where you're with a group of people. It's about what you're seeing. It's not about you at all.
Right.
So often with that, um, you're just an observer, almost like you
Right.
could be just watching television, right? If it's just about somebody else. So I'll give you a super short dream of that. So in the dream, I'm driving a car down a road. And so it starts out kind of about me where I'm going. And I look out the window and I see my friend Harry out in this field, like a little piece of property where there's small hobby farms or something. And I see him like he wants to buy this property. He wants to move to this property. And I see the house. I see him walking around. And I'm just looking out the window, looking at him as I'm driving by, you know? And I keep going, but it was really vivid to me. So I was like, oh, that's really weird. I don't dream about Harry that often. Like, I, you know, so I call him up and say, hey, are you happen to want to move out to the country on a little hobby farm or something? He goes, yeah, I just was looking at one yesterday, walking the property. I'm like, well, what do you know? Well, I think that's the Lord. I had that in my dream, right? Completely literal. And
Wow. That is so
and
cool.
it doesn't happen very often to me, everybody. Some people it happens a lot, but I was just observing. It wasn't about me at all,
That's so
or
cool.
that part wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of reminds me of that dream I had where I was on someone's property too. And I felt like I was supposed to sing. In the dream, I felt like I was supposed to sing the song "How Great Thou Art" over that property, and I floated up in the air, and I just started singing "How Great Thou Art" over the property, and then all of a sudden, I remember it was really weird. A baseball glove came
Ha.
and landed on my hand and started biting my hand. So it was so weird, and then I
Yeah.
woke up, and then later I found out I actually was on a piece of land that somebody owned in our class because
And
we
somebody else was trying to get their mitts on it. Bum,
yes.
bum, bum. See that, everybody? There's some good symbolism, some colloquial expression and wordplay. Right.
Yes. Yeah, so I was praying over the land and it was kind of yeah, so it's a little bit like that with your
Yeah.
land and dream and hair dream. But I have another one. I should share that other one.
Sure. Yeah. This is a good dream. I
Yeah,
just
so
found
this
out
dream
about it
is
today.
yeah,
I didn't even know about it.
it's a little bit prophetic. Probably a lot prophetic, but
Hmm.
so I'm gonna read it. It's in my journal. So I had this dream oh, you know, 3 years ago. Okay, I was in a business helping out in the accounting area, which is, I do a lot of that in real life. And there was some fix up that was needed due to the government saying the company
Ooh.
needs to pay more. So I'm like, okay. So I gathered a bunch of paperwork and I remember my arms were full of paperwork and I knew I had to go to the elevator and go up to the third floor. So I went into the elevator with all this paperwork and I followed two other people into the elevator. So we go, you get in the elevator, we're all standing. They push number three, I'm standing with them. And then the doors open on level three. And then as soon as the door opens on level three, by mistake, I drop all my paperwork everywhere, all over the
Oh my.
elevator. So so I get down and I start gathering all the sheets of paper. And before I could finish gathering all the sheets of paper, the elevator doors close. And I'm like, oh no, right? Because the two ladies left. And then I was stuck here and I'm trying, and then the elevator closes. And then, but then the elevator continues to go up. And I'm like, I'm really confused because I knew the building I was in only had 3 floors. So, but it continues to go up and it's going up really, really fast. It feels like I'm going past, hundreds of floors. Like it was
Oh
crazy.
my.
I just kept going up and fast, really, really high. And I'm thinking, there must be like, this building must have hidden floors or something. And so somebody up there must have called the elevator up, right? And I happen to be on it, right? So I'm a little bit scared. It's going high, high, high. And finally I get to the top floor and I get out and I see like there's windows there and I'm so high, the earth looks so
Oh
far
my.
away. Like I'm that high. But I see it's kind of, when you get out of an elevator and there's like chairs there, that you can sit. And there's a lady sitting there. So I sit on a chair beside her and we chat. And as we chat, suddenly the chairs we're in start to move up. As, and I'm in a ride in an amusement park. And we're lifted even higher. And we're on this crazy ride, really high up. And then then at that point, I actually really realize I'm in a dream. And I say to the lady, I think we're dreaming.
That's funny.
And I'm thinking, should I get out of the dream or should I stay? And I thought I'm going to just stay. And then I wake up.
Wow.
So it was such a crazy dream. So that dream was an interesting time dream, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's again, see everybody, there's a pretty big prophetic element there, right? There's things in there you'll never forget the rest of your life, right? I'm pretty sure, hey, like I bet you'll never forget going up that elevator and sitting by that woman and floating, right? I bet you that's burned in your memory forever.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's one of those
But
dreams you don't forget.
the first part of the dream, we talked about this just briefly before we started, and I asked Tricia this question. I'll ask her again. So, um, when you had this dream 3-4 years ago, uh, were you doing stuff like in the business world where you had to drop things and has God and after that God started to reveal more things to you about his kingdom, something like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So at the time, so I had this dream late 2021 and we started first year Sammy's Mantle in 2020 with COVID, right? And so we were talking about doing a third year, and then we're also going to start a new first year. And so I decided, okay, this is going to get really busy. So I actually had to drop some of my workload on my clients because I do accounting stuff. Because I much prefer working for Sammy's Mantle than doing accounting stuff. Let's just say that, right? So I did have to let go of some stuff in order to continue to grow. And that's when we used to do it with video. And then I had convinced you to just come and do it full time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was definitely happening at that time. We were making decisions about what to do next.
See, isn't that cool? And in scripture, everybody too, biblical symbolism. Uh, Ezekiel's held by his hair between heaven and earth. Ezekiel goes up, Elijah goes up in the chariot. Jesus goes up. So going up represents being in spirit. So, you have that there. But it's interesting. There's two levels. Like one, you go up. So representing the prophetic, right? Going up. And, and that's what happens. Samuel's Mantle is a prophetic school. That's what we do. So, but it's interesting that the first part of it, you end up by that lady. And I still it's like a part two. Like you sat down.
Well, the first two ladies left the elevator and they didn't even hold it open while I was gathering all the paperwork.
Well, I was
And then
thinking
I
about
was
the one in the
stuck.
chair, though, right?
I know. And then I went way up, and then there was another lady way up there. So I sat down there to chat with her while I was waiting. I was actually waiting for the elevator so I could go back down and get back to the third floor. But then I didn't because then my chair turned into.
So you had the dream like 3 years ago?
Yeah, just about 3 years ago.
Does when you think about the prophetic since that time, has it felt maybe not always, but some of the time like an amusement ride, like an amusement park being on a ride?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. So that's where that fits.
Oh, probably, yes. It feels like I'm having the ride of my life that just
Oh,
gets
well, there you go.
crazier and crazier every year.
But again, everybody, that's a bridging question. But remember, this is a 3-year-old dream. So if you would have asked that that bridging question 3 years ago, you go, what? I don't know. Right. So,
Well, that's just it. Because before this podcast, you asked me these questions and I never clued in that it had to do with letting go of stuff to do more Samuel's Mantle stuff.
yeah.
I never clued in until
That's
today.
that's why having other people ask you questions, everybody, is so powerful. God hides things, and it's the glory of a king to search him out. But we often need community. So there you go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So to wrap up the 3 rules of 3, this is our final episode, little mini series of the 3 rules of 3. They are rule number 1, cultural, biblical, or why is the other one escaping me?
Personal,
Right.
yeah.
So that's rule
That's
number
what the
1.
symbolism can be.
That's to
Yeah.
do with the symbolisms. And then rule number 2 is your dream can be about the past, present, or future. And then rule number 3 is, go ahead, Murray.
Yeah, it can be about yourself, which, they say 95% of our dreams are about ourselves. But where you love, you will dream. Where you pray. So you can kind of work on that a little bit, right? You can kind of have a little cheat there. It could be with you and a group of people you're with, or it can be you're just observing it. So it's about who or what you're observing. So there you go. 3 rules of 3.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you all next week. I think next week, dream types.
One more. Yeah, we'll do one more on dreams. And everybody,
Yeah.
this is all in the book. If this were a dream, what would it mean? And you can find that on the website, samuelsmantle.com, or on Amazon. It's right there.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If you have rated and reviewed the show, that means so much to us. Your heartfelt feedback always reminds us why we do this. And hey, let's stay connected. Hop over to the website where we have some free gifts for you to learn just how prophetic you are. Find them at samuelsmantle.com.
And if you'd like to get access to the vault where we keep all the good stuff, you can become a partner on the website as well. Remember, encountering God is your superpower by the power of the Holy Spirit. Keep leaning in, and we'll catch you next week.